Hi everyone. First of all, I'm still battling a cold and a cough, among other things that have been hitting me at the start of 2017. So I got a cough drop. So just so you know, get the cough drop going here. Um, as you can see, it's a work in progress here. It's going to be a while before I get all the records organized where I want. So just so you know why the piles are here. Um, Purpose of this video is to make a vinyl finds of all kinds, but also to own up and to tell you all I failed dismally. If you look back, I don't know, a dozen or more videos now, I guess, you will see a video where I named it Changes to the Collection or something like that, where I was going to attempt to keep certain things out of my collection. I said I was going to focus mainly on the Beatles, but that didn't mean that I wasn't going to buy anything non-Beatle. It's still non-Beatle stuff I'm always going to buy. The idea was just that I was going to kind of taper it off a lot. Well, no sooner do I say that, and I completely lost all kinds of control, and I have given into my vinyl addiction and bought things that I don't even know why I bought them. And I'm hoping that they turn out to be enjoyable and good purchases. Now, as I go through this is going to be a long video. Hope you'll watch it through, but I understand skipping, because to get the full effect of it, if you want to, you might want to pick this at a time where you are not doing anything else and you have the time to just grab a drink or something and relax and watch this whole thing. All right, now to start with, this is a pretty hefty amount of records that I have here to show. To start with, I'm going to show at the beginning records that are not really impulse buys. The records that I really would always collect anyway. These are not, the first batch here are not records that I'm referring to when I say I lost control. To start with, we have this. Let me take it out of here, which is kind of a grail. Now, right off the top, this is an album that I've really wanted in this kind of condition. It's from Elvis in Memphis, an original. It's in the shrink, and it's got the wonderful hype sticker there that advertises that it contains a photo inside. Now, as nice as this piece is, there is no photo inside, unfortunately. I have to still get the photo. It's on an original orange RCA label. The record itself is kind of marked up. I basically bought this because the cover is so beautiful, and I can always Frankenstein a nicer record and get the picture and make a nice piece out of this. So this is the reason I mainly got this. But funnily enough, when I played the record itself, the record sounded fine. It was some little surface sounds here and there, but I could use a better record. But if I don't get one, this is still serviceable. Anyway. Alright, so that's not out of the realm of what I usually buy. This one isn't either, really. It's a Nancy Sinatra album called Nancy. Now, when it comes to Nancy Sinatra, I'm collecting her records. I have at least half a dozen right now. And anything with Nancy Sinatra, I like. I like her voice. I like the way she sings, among other things. And that's why I would have picked this up anyway. This was not part of my trying to cull the collection and cut back philosophy. Okay, that's coming. All right, now we're getting to another album that I would have bought anyway. This is the Best of the Doors. I'm not a big Doors fan at all. I do like their big songs, the hits. I have the other album, the other hits album, which is more of a red and white cover. But this one has Love Her Madly on it that I like, that the other album doesn't have, and a lot of other songs that I don't have. So I think between the two hits albums, I may be good to go, although I'm still thinking about getting the first Doors album, which I think is pretty good. Maybe even LA Woman. Maybe I'll get the red one and the first one. I think those are both good, but I don't need a lot of Doors personally. Okay, now we're getting to albums that are more questionable. Not yet. Hold on, one more. one more. I don't want to leave Connie Francis out of this. I'm a Connie Francis collector. Her albums are so cheap that anytime I see an album by hers, I can upgrade it. That's what I do with Connie. I basically upgrade. So these are albums I would buy anyway. This is maybe an upgrade. I have this album already. Don't know if I have it in this kind of condition. So this is something of an upgrade. And this one here is certainly an upgrade because it's in the shrink wrap. Another cover for Who's Sorry Now, later edition. Okay, so far we're still at albums that I would buy anyway. This has nothing to do with whether I'm culling the collection or not. We have Neil Diamond. Now I've been on a Neil Diamond kick, and this album I know I definitely want. This is his first debut album in mono. Definitely want this album. I have a whole stack here of Neil Diamond albums that I picked up on a whim. Got about 10 or 12 Neil Diamond albums. I played only one so far. I didn't like it in its entirety. That Taproot Manuscript album, I didn't like it. The African music that he did on that. So I don't know if that's going to be part of a culling experiment where I'm going to play some of those albums and ditch them. We'll see. Okay, now here's an album. I've had about 4 or 5 copies of this. My store owner gave me this for free. It's the Sting soundtrack to the movie. Why I got it again? It's in the shrink. It's a complicated thing. I get really crazy. It's in the shrink. I have copies in the shrink, out of the shrink, but I want it in the shrink, and I want the original, not the repressing. This is the original, and it's got the black label, MCA label, which is the original. I've got it. The blue label, which is a reissue. It's just a thing with me. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I just wanted the album in the shrink with the black label. Now I got it for free. So, no problem. Just get rid of the other ones. Don't worry, we're getting there, I promise, to albums that I really overindulged in. Told you this was going to be a long video. Okay, Yoko Ono. I'm always trying to decide whether I should put Yoko in with the Beatles finds. I don't know. I put them separately. I really like this album. You know, actually, just so you know, I was playing this album in the store. I played the first 2 tracks, and a young guy in his early 20s said, "Who was that? I like that." And when I told him, he was surprised. He thought it was, I don't know if he thought it was Bjork or Lena Lovitch or somebody, but he liked it. And just goes to show you. And then another guy said, "Yeah, I liked it too," when I said it. So there's the people in the woodwork that like Yoko albums when she's not just screaming and yelling and wailing. Even I can't tolerate that. But when she's singing, like on that album, I'm not saying she's a great singer, but some of them are good. Anyway, okay, here's another album that I was given for free. Boris Karloff narrates some stories here. It was a free album. And there's a few stories. I'm a fan of the old horror movies and Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi, so I like to have albums by them. That's part of my journey. I've recently tried to liquidate some of these albums, like radio shows and stories. I've gotten rid of Peter Lorre and Vincent Price. I'm not as big on people like Vincent Price and Peter Lorre as I am Karloff and Lugosi. So that's how I rationalize that. So I am actually succeeding at liquidating some records, even though you might not think so. Just want to save a little face. All right, now we get to the interesting, I think, part of the video. Going to be surprised by these, okay? These are records that I can't believe I bought. The rest of these, pretty much, I can't believe I bought. And I'll explain why, and I think it'll be interesting. I have a slew of Beach Boys albums coming up here. I had these albums in my collection and got rid of them. Didn't play them all, but for a long time people were asking me about the Beach Boys, and these are in great shape. This is the reason I bought them. They're really in great shape. When it comes to the Beach Boys, the way I've always said is I didn't like Pet Sounds. Believe it or not, I know everybody loves Pet Sounds. Well, not everybody. In my comments, I've heard people that say they agree with me. They think it's overrated. But I didn't feel any need to own the actual albums, full albums by the Beach Boys. I figured just having Endless Summer, the hits, was enough. Well, this batch of Beach Boys records came into my store, all in shrink wrap, all minty, fresh. The records in really great shape, like they were never played, and they were very cheap. I say very cheap. I mean, cheap enough. Like this one here, Surfing USA, in a shrink. Beautiful condition. I know there's a lot of Beach Boys fans out there. You know, they're all on the Black Capital label. All really, really minty records. And, you know, here's the dilemma. You see these records, like this one here that I'm going to show, and you say, hey, you know, these look so beautiful. That's my weakness, folks. I see these records, they're mint, they're old relics, old antique albums, and they're in beautiful shape, and I just want to have them. Now, I'm not going to say I do this for every artist out there. I mean, if I saw Kanye West albums in minty shape, I'm not going to buy them. I don't like jazz, no matter how many Charlie Parker, I don't know, Miles Davis albums. I'm trying to think of examples here that I see mint. I'm not going to buy them. I don't like jazz. I mean, I'm not just going to buy anything just because it's mint, obviously. I'm not going to buy Jimmy Roselli. I'm not going to buy, you know, Tony Bennett, all these records in mint shape that I see. Just so I save a little face there. I want to mention that. Okay, this one, I had this one too. This one was only $5 because it was not in shrink. So, I mean, I got pulled into it. You know what they say in Godfather 3, no matter how many times I try to get out, they pull me back in. All right, now, here we go. The next, I got quite a few albums by this next artist here. And it's also a Capitol artist, Capitol Records in the U.S., and it's Peggy Lee. Now, I like Peggy Lee's voice. Do I need to own every album Peggy Lee ever made? That I don't know. But for some reason, the same thing happened. I happened to come across a stack of Peggy Lee records in exceptional condition. And in her case, they're only like $3 each, something like that. What the hell? I mean, but the idea is not really a matter of how cheap the records are necessarily. There's another one, right? I mean, even if somebody gives you the whole idea is to save space and try to be able to store all your records, right? Even if somebody gives you free records and says you can have these for nothing, it's not always a matter of the money you're saving on them. It's a matter of the space. I'm going to leave. The train is passing. It's you know, I'm going to let the train go. Hey, Big Spender. Remember that song? This is in the shrink, obviously. Really in great shape. I couldn't leave this there. Now, as I say, I'll name another artist. There's a couple of other artists, female artists. Vicky Carr, I don't buy. Edie Gourmet, I don't buy. I mean, there's plenty of female vocalists. Something Groovy. Plenty of female artists that I don't buy just because I can, you know. But yet for some reason, look at this one. Look at these are mint condition, these records. They're in great shape. Look at that. Look at that photo. And she sings so well. She's got such a interesting voice. Put it that way. That was then, and now is now. I mean, you know, all of them are on the Peggy Lee label. I was good. All of them are on the Capitol. They're all in great shape. I checked all the records out. Here's one. I think this means when you see this hole here, it's a promotional record. I don't like the hole, to tell you the truth. Promotional or not promotional, I don't like the records with the hole in it. But this is all that they had of this one, so I got it. The hits of Peggy Lee. I mean, how beautiful is this album, you know? Now, to show you another step of how I've gone back, I had this album. I had this album in my original, I say original collection, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, since I've been making videos, and I showed it and I played it, and it was a good album, but the sound quality was recorded very poorly, if I remember correctly. But on a Kame record, the Kame label. But the thing is, here I am buying it again. I had it, and I got rid of it, and I'm buying it again. because I also get very, very interested in having records all in a series. When I see a series of records, it's like I want to own them all, you know? And that's really hard to pass by. Maybe she's trying to tell me something here. Joe, pass me by. Don't buy all my records. But look at these records. And like I say, if I didn't enjoy her singing, I wouldn't buy. Obviously, I'm not going to buy it. But do I like her singing enough to play all of these albums? You know, when I make my series continuation, the series that I call First Time Spins, where I play records for the first time and evaluate whether I'm going to keep them or not. You know, these are definitely going to be have to be put in there. I have to go through all Neil Diamond's records that I bought. I have to go through all Peggy Lee's records that I bought, and another artist that I'm going to be showing you soon coming up. I'm going to take a break from female vocalists for a minute before I return to them to show you two other examples of albums that I bought. I don't know why. I saw this, Popeyes, songs about health, safety, friendship, manners, all these different subjects. Now, I loved the Popeye cartoon when I was a kid, and I get a real kick out of Popeye the Sailor. I was going to play some of this just to be funny, you know, but to hear Popeye sing, shakes hands, you know, it's hysterical to me. So I get a kick out of this record. Did I need it? I don't know, but when it's only a buck or two, you know, it's really hard to resist. But I even went a step further and got this one. Now here's another example. You know, I'm trying to get rid of records like this. You know, that's the whole point of the video. I mean, you know, I'm trying to look at the condition, and it's fun. You know, if you like Popeye, I mean, I may put it on in the background while I'm typing here on the computer sometime. Okay, now we're back to a female vocalist. And here's a female vocalist that I like within reason. And wait till you see what I'm going to get to at the end of this female artist here. That's Dusty Springfield. I like a lot of Dusty Springfield's big hits from the 60s. And I like the song Son of a Preacher Man in the late 60s. Something about her voice I really like, so I found a whole bunch of her records, unusual finds. This is Cameo. And I figured, you know, I got the bug again to buy Dusty. And here's a beautiful cover. See All Her Faces. This is a UK album. I think this one's only available in the UK. This is really a nice looking album. And I played this one already and enjoyed most of the songs on here, but you know, I don't know, you know, if Dusty Springfield warrants me having every one of her albums, but I saw them all in one shot, so I got them. You got this one here. What's the name of this one? It Begins Again. It Begins Again from Dusty. Here's one called White Heat, not to be confused with the James Cagney movie of the same title. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, with Dusty Springfield, she's one of those artists the music has to be there. There are some artists I can enjoy just because I like them. Like, you know, if it's, say, Paul McCartney, almost anything Paul McCartney sings I can enjoy, you know, because it's Paul, you know, or Elvis. But there's some artists like this that it depends on the song. I mean, I don't just like all the Dusty Springfield songs just because it's Dusty Springfield. You know, not just because it's her. Now here's a very interesting find in the shrink, in great shape. This is the Springfields, which is Dusty before she went solo. Pretty amazing find, and I played a little of this, and this was a really rollicking, fun time from the few tracks I heard so far. Taking a chance on it. Got the record in the back here. The last item I want to show for this collection as we get into 20 minutes is an album. A while ago, I made a video. I don't know when I say a while ago. I don't know if it's a year or more ago now. So you have to look back a ways to find it. I wrote down, the title is 8 Overrated Albums, in my opinion. And this was one of them. Dusty in Memphis. And yet here I am, son of a bitch, here I am buying Dusty in Memphis again. Why? First reason is because I love Son of a Preacher Man. I mean, I can get that on other sources. The Pulp Fiction movie soundtrack, for one. But it is considered a great album, and I gave it another spin, a fresh spin. And this time, I liked maybe 3 songs off it, aside from Son of a Preacher Man. I like so 4. Whereas last time, I didn't really like anything off. So this album might be a grower. I don't know, but I tell you, side 2, I still don't like side 2 at all. The other songs I like were all on side 1. Side 2 are pretty much what left me flat, the whole side. But anyway, imagine that I bought this thing again. I mean, not again. I mean, I never had it. I played it on I think it was a CD of it. I played it from the store that I go to, and I didn't like it, so I never bought it. But it was $8. I mean, this is also not in great shape. If it was in great shape, it would be $20 or $25 or more. It was only $8. So anyway, there it is. I don't know how many of you stuck with me this whole thing. I mean, you know, I don't do that. I can't do that either. I watch everybody's videos all the way through if they're too long. But I wanted to get the idea going there, the theme of how I said I was going to liquidate. I said I was going to cut out a lot of stuff. And as you can see, I'm not. But just one last thing at the end I want to say. There are albums that I pass up too. You know, obviously you don't know that. You don't know that for every couple of albums I'm buying that I'm succumbing to the desire to get them. There's also maybe 1 or 2 albums that I've used my willpower and didn't buy. Record collecting, crazy thing.